Hey, what's going on, guys? Brandon here with Texas Plinking, and I'm making a video I almost didn't make. This was just out of sake of my own curiosity. Sometimes I'll go back and look at old rifle setups I have that I've already made my content with, and I still like it, and I'll shoot them every now and then. But then I get new accessories, whether it's optics or what have you, that come in, and then I start kind of playing, I don't know, musical accessories and just kind of mix and matching things. And every now and then I get a cool setup. Sometimes it's too much, but sometimes it makes a lot of sense. And in this case, I don't know which one it's going to be. I think it's going to make a lot of sense. I've already shot a little bit in this configuration off camera. And so enough just kind of vaguely talking about it. Let's dive into it a little bit here. What we have here in a broad sense, so you guys can decide if you want to watch the rest of the video, we have a 16-inch barreled AR-10 with an LPVO from 1 to 10 power, and also has a thermal clip-on. Day, night, close range, medium range, hunting, recreational. Will this kind of do it all in that rifle purpose? Well, we'll kind of find out in this video. So let's dive into it a little bit deeper here and talk about some of the things I have on here. There's some new things I want to mention, but some of this you've seen before, just not all put together in this setup. Now, starting off with the core of it all, the rifle itself is a PSA or Palmetto State Armory. This is one of those like M110 clone rifles from their Sabre line. Specifically, this is the SABRE-10A1, I believe. And like I've already mentioned, 308 and a 16-inch barrel. Adjustable gas system, which I have some opinions on, and I'll explain that a little bit as we get shooting and talk about performance. Came with this B5 stock. Overall comes with really good components. Palmetto State Armory's own 2-stage trigger as well, which feels pretty darn good. However, every now and then it does give me a little bit of a hiccup. So I'll explain all those kind of little cons in just a little bit here. But just kind of wrapping up the accessories there as the rifle itself goes, pretty darn good. As far as performance of the rifle, this is Federal 308 168 grain Sierra Match Kings. This is kind of my go-to for factory ammo for 308 stuff, especially out of gas guns like this. And well, it looks like I did a 3-round group, and it was a 5-round group, so that's to tell just how well it performed. That looks like a clean 3 holes, but that middle one actually has 3 stacked in there. We are under 3/4 of an inch by a decent amount as well. I'll get some close-ups there. My one and only grouping of today, and did pretty darn stellar. Now for the scope, I think is a pretty cool match for this rifle given price and performance and stuff, but pretty inexperienced with it, so I'm going to develop more impressions as we get into it today. But this here is my first ever Gunner optic, which is a brand that I've kind of seen in passing here and there, but off-camera shooting so far seems to be quite nice. This is the Gunner Odin 1 to 10X. It's a low power variable that starts at 1, goes up to 10 times power, which is a very variable range, which is pretty cool. First focal plane as well. The way I treat a 1 to 10 first focal plane, whether it's from a Vortex Razor HD Gen 3 or what have you, or even the Arkin 1 to 8, so that's such a variable zoom range, and when they're first focal plane, you really don't see much reticle at all at one time, if I'm being honest. But because they have illumination, crank the illumination, and it's almost like a red dot, almost, but pretty cool. And then you have that flexibility to go all the way to 8, or in this case 10, anywhere in between. Then you start seeing the reticle, and it's on the first focal plane, so the relativity is always true. Close, medium, long range, should be pretty capable. Easy to zero reset, does have zero stop as well. Overall, feature rich. Not much to complain about the optics so far, looking down range and shooting down range as well. Just off camera, like I mentioned. Glass quality, nothing to complain about, 1 through 10. It's actually pretty darn nice. But the price point in general is just not too bad. I don't know if the price point's ever going to be changing. They were cool enough to actually link up with me and hook up a discount code. That is, of course, as always, Texas Plinking. And that brings it down to be under $600 by a decent margin. It might be like $569 or something like that. Check it out. Maybe the price is adjusted since you watched this video, maybe more, maybe less, but as of right now, I think it's under $570. This here is a DNT Hydra HS635, and so it is a 640p thermal scope, but you could also turn the reticle off, enter a clip-on mode, and put it in front of an LPVO. But man, the use cases of a DNT Hydra, these things have been awesome. They have a few different SKUs to choose from as well, starting from under $1,000 for a lower resolution, of course. Mid-resolution, this one's the best they got. And man, just a few years ago, if you were to tell me that you could get something like this for under $3,000, I would have not believed you at all. But as of I'm making this video right now to tick over $2,000, rumor on the street is I think they're going to drop the price to be just under $2,000 for the highest end 640p Hydra. So by the time you see this video, it may be under $2,000, which is pretty awesome. So clip-on device, awesome. That speaks for itself and how great and versatile that is. But if you want to use it for a dedicated thermal scope, which does have one advantage that I'll mention in just a little bit here, all you have to do is exit clip-on mode, and then it becomes this dedicated scope because it has a slew of different reticles and reticle colors to choose from, digital zoom, and all that stuff as well. The cool thing with this series of the Hydra, the HS635, which is the highest end it gets, is not only do you have the higher resolution, but the minimum zoom is the lowest at 1.5 times zoom. Sometimes you think more and more and more. In the world of thermal, less is more. Same with night vision. Starting at 1.5 times zoom is a nice open field of view, and you have the flexibility of digitally punching in and zooming in a little bit more, versus the Hydra that starts at under $1,000, which is massively impressive and honestly does not really give you that many limitations. It does start at 3 times zoom, so if you couple this with a LPVO and 1.5 times zoom, it's pretty awesome. The one benefit I will say to not having a clip-on and using this as a dedicated thermal is you could be a little bit more accurate with that. The reason being is the parallax. And now I'm going to kind of skip over this a little bit, but just say enough, hopefully, just to not confuse too many people here. But the reason you may have a zeroed in day optic and then you put a thermal on in front of it, you need to zero the thermal to your day optic, even though your day optic's zeroed, and that is because of parallax. Where your reticle is looking, it's not looking at a target anymore like it was passively like here. Now the scope is looking into a screen of this device. So you need to just match up the relativity there to make sure that where the target is on your thermal screen, you move it to be where your reticle is. Once this is zeroed, you don't touch this, you zero this to this. Very easy to do, but then even once that's zero, the problem though is if you're not consistent with your cheek weld and you move a little left, little right, up and down, it's as if your day reticle is moving way off target. So you need to be very consistent with your cheek weld here. So that's something I didn't mention on the few times I mentioned this, but yeah, very cool, very versatile, but it takes discipline to get very consistent with your cheek weld. And I'm talking about this could throw off your shots a decent amount, but if you're just shooting big targets at 100 yards, no problem at all. And when are you going to do this? Typically when shooting hogs or predator hunting at night, that's usually within 100 yards, and that margin matters a little bit less, but certainly something to take note of. If you guys are interested in one of those, I'll leave a link in the description, and then coupon code Texas Plinking is how you could get the price to be just over $2,000, or I hope I'm not wrong, by the time you're watching this, that coupon code might bring it down to just under 2, which would be awesome. I actually ended up taking this DNT and mounting it up on a swivel mount that came with my Vortex 3x magnifier. And so I mounted it directly to my DNT so I could just swivel it off to the side. And it is a very sturdy mount. It's also QD, so I could remove it entirely. So my thought process here is having that dual setup to where I can have 1 to 10, 308, close range, long range. And if it's anything close and it's nighttime or whatever you want to hunt with it, all you have to do is just swivel this bad boy right on there. And then you're ready to go. So I think that's a cool idea there. Other small things, we got an Atlas bipod and my OSS HX-762Ti suppressor on there. Maybe what we'll do is kind of start shooting offhand here at some close range with and without thermal, just kind of show the, battle rifle aspect of it and then thermal with hunting aspect of it. Then we'll kind of sit down and go to 100 yards and do the same thing. Then we'll just kind of stretch the legs on it. So that sounds interesting. Stick around and let's see what it's all about. And what's pretty cool, we're gonna go away from thermal in just a second here, but real quickly I want to show you guys some targets I got. So steel targets are cool for obvious reasons, but I recently got some that are specific for thermal because they have a critical hit zone and then behind that a little pocket, and you're meant to put something kind of hot behind it, like they come with these little packs that you could break a disc and they get really, really hot. You put that in the back pouch and then that critical zone gets really warm. Well, it's Texas and it's in the middle of summer, so it's really hot out. So instead I put ice in there so it gives me a cold spot for the critical zone, just to give me some temperature contrast. I'll get some footage of what it looks like in person and through the DNT, but I have it on black hot right now because of the ice. They have a small target, a coyote facing you, a medium-sized one that's a coyote facing to the right, and then a hog is the largest one they have. I have that at 100 yards right now. If you're plinking around, zeroing, or need to get some practice in with your thermal, it's cool that you could have that control of temperature contrast. I thought those targets were pretty cool, so I want to showcase them, and they're cool enough as well to hook it up with discount code Texas Plinking. Gets you guys free shipping, which is nice for a steel target, certainly. So go ahead and slap one right here. Not as audible of a ring, but definitely we could see some impacts there. Let's go ahead and get away from the thermal. Let's go to day mode here. Go back to thermal. And unfortunately, that is one of the issues I had with this rifle. As stellar as it's been so far, this has happened a couple times. And as bummed out as I am, it's not too bad because I could just replace the trigger and we'll be done with it. But something's going on with the factory trigger. It feels really, really good. But there, I just ran the bolt and the safety still will not engage. Oh, there you go that time. All right, I played with the trigger enough and finally it reset and now it can go into safe. Weird, that's happened a couple times now. Not ideal, but anyway, back in business for now. Easy swap of the trigger and we'll be good. But that's been my only mechanical flaw with this gun. One other little con I have, as we're gonna find out as we run out of ammo here, in my opinion, it's just got way too many adjustment points for the gas system. It clicks, I think, 5 times per revolution, but you could, you know, do a lot of revolutions. And so it's just a lot of adjustments to find the right thing. So right now I went from the precision ammo to some plinking stuff. Hopefully it locks back, but right now it's been cycling fine, just that trigger. Kind of see some things up here. But let's go ahead and just swivel this off to the side here and just dump the rest. Oh, well, good news. Cycled as well as locked back. I've been having problems with the 168 locking back, but it's been cycling fine. And that's my only 2 negative things I'll say so far about the setup. Otherwise, been pretty awesome. Safety, swivel that bad boy away. Now I can go ahead and crank it to some magnification. All right, put this guy back, and if I'm going to use that, I have to go to 1x zoom. Easy enough. Hey, we got locked back. That's cool. All right, so I think I tuned the gases to where they're kind of happy now. And I just now realized I did that and never hit record on the DNT. So let's do 5 more rounds. Son of a gun. This dang trigger. And then eventually kind of fixes itself like that. Huh. Well, work with what we got today. One thing I will say, this is not me just trying to give the DNT like another leg up of what it's really got. The quality is plenty fine, but it's the middle of summer in the middle of the day in Texas, so the temperature contrast, for lack of a better way to put it, sucks right now. This is about as worst it gets. But when the weather's a little cooler, or at night, certainly, or if there's something living out there, it's really, really nice. But certainly at 100 yards, I'm seeing that silhouette no problem, which is impressive considering the conditions. Well, as exciting thermal is, and I think it's been awesome lately, that should be it for this video. So we're gonna swivel that off to the side. Let's go ahead and just use this 1 to 10. I'm gonna start off at 300 yards now, go into some further ranges. I'll give you guys a quick look at what that looks like with my phone. And that's not gonna do justice, obviously, but I gotta say, for the price point of this thing, pretty impressed with it. Let's go ahead and put it right on the big silhouette here. All right, don't know where exactly it hit. Let's go over to the circle to the right. I've got that wind starting to crank now. Moved it pretty good. Let's go for that small circle top left. All right, 3 for 3. We got locked back, 300 yards. Child's play. Let's go to 500 yards. Don't know if I got him on the butt or what. All right, 2 good hits there. I don't have the most amount of ammo right now, so let's go ahead and move on over to, I think that should be 750 if I'm not mistaken. I lied, that's actually 700 yards. I just double checked to be sure. 700, starting off with the big silhouette off to the right, just to gain some confidence as that wind is starting to crank up. Did not quite see that one. All right, a little low, a little off to the right. All right, that's a hit. That doesn't really move it too much. It's not too audible. It's gonna be tougher to hit. Let's go for that small one top left of it. All right, moving on over to 815 yards. Might take a while to get on target. I only have 4 in the mag, so I could, if I get a hit within 4, that'd be great, because then I'll just save the remaining 10 rounds I have today at 1,000 yards, and that'll take a little bit of luck. But we're at 815. Let's try to do it within 4, which means I have to learn a lot off the first shot to see where it goes. Let's go for that tombstone target. Scared a roadrunner there. I adjusted for that. It went even more bottom right. Son of a gun, trigger. All right. I know, guys, not ideal. All right, gonna just hold a little left of it. Hopefully the conditions didn't change too much. Oh, son of a gun. All right, I won't leave myself 10 for 1,000. I got to get a hit on that tombstone. One going in. Nice. Hopefully for you guys as well, but for me, that was really audible. I like that tombstone one. All right, got a clutch one in there. So now I have 9 rounds for 1,000 yards. I'm gonna load them all in the mag and let's just see what the hell happens. Hopefully the trigger starts cooperating a little bit. All right, my last 9 remaining rounds. 1,000 yards. It's gonna be a toughie. We're gonna go for the silhouette, top right, which is just top left of the big square. Let's go ahead and give it a whirl. Bad start when I don't see anything. Quick change of plans. I'm going to go for the 10-inch target, middle of the entire berm, that orange one, just because if I miss, I might be able to see splash a little easier. All right, sure enough, I saw splash. We were way off. I'm going to go back to the silhouette. Looked a little high there. Close. I was going to do a rapid follow-up before the conditions changed and the triggers wanted to see us again. Just lift. Come on. Son of a gun, we're all over it and this trigger's about to act up again. Whoa. Okay, wow. Literally last round did not lock back. I saw the red light go off, but I saw dust behind it, so I waited and we actually heard a little steel there. So I must have barely clipped the target, but hey, a hit's a hit. Whew, that was about to be bad. I am out of ammo and not ending on a hit is unlike this channel. That would have been really bad, but kept the tradition going, all good. So there's that, guys. Again, almost didn't even make this video. Glad I did. I thought it was just personally interesting to get a 308 16-inch AR-10 and put a 1-10 with a thermal clip on. I think that just would have been a really cool do-all rig. And as it turns out, it has a lot of merit. What we learned is this particular rifle, I don't want to bash PSA because I love what they do. I love a lot of their stuff. This thing's all totally squared away, except the trigger is acting very strange. New trigger solves that. And then the gases, AR-10s can just be finicky to adjust. But running a flow-through suppressor, I would hope it was a little easier. It would feed pretty good, just sometimes lock back, sometimes doesn't. Going between different loadings and stuff like that, very sensitive. As far as Gunner, just now starting to get to know them, but I thought that was cool if they want to hook you guys up with the discount code. Really, I would have thought this scope was significantly more. And code Texas Plinking, like I said, saves you a good amount of money, so check that out. As far as DNT, I've showed them off for probably about the last year now. I think it was October 24, with very little expectations. If you saw my raw video and my raw reactions, I had such low expectations given the price. But for the last year, they've been blowing me out of the water, and this DNT Hydra is no exception. They all come in black, but DNT also sells like this kind of wrap. So I've got one in Coyote Brown. I think it looks kind of cool for this particular rifle setup. Dedicated thermal scope or a clip-on or just a simple monocular because of the small size. This thing is freaking awesome. I know $2,000's not a small amount of money, but for what it does, it is just, I mean, out of this world. I sold a lot of very expensive thermals that I don't want to mention names just because I don't want to start anything, but some very reputable ones I have no issue with. I just sold them because I didn't get anything out of them that I don't get from these DNTs. So very impressed there. And again, with DNT, code Texas Plinking saves you guys a ton of money right now. So do be sure to check that out. They also have digital night vision and all kinds of other fun stuff. So check them out. For all applicable links and codes and all that good stuff, I'll put the information and links down in the video description as well as pinned comment. So check it out. But there you go. The video that almost didn't happen. And I'm glad I put it all together. So that does it. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys next time.